Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Cedarville Stories podcast with Jim Hauser, Mandy Young, and Steve Shore, three Cedarville alumni who are leading with biblical conviction in Christian radio. I'm Mark Weinstein, recording this podcast from the K-LOVE and Air1 studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Last week, we talked about how their education and relationships from Cedarville shaped their lives, and today, we're going to talk more about how they go about sharing the gospel through music and encouraging words at K-LOVE and Air1. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this program, so let's go to my conversation with Jim, Mandy, and Steve on the Cedarville Stories podcast. So in Psalm 119:11, it says, I've stored up your mind with my heart that I may not sin against you. Why does what we listen to on radio or whatever medium, shape us more than sometimes we even imagine or realize?
You remember as a kid, well, I grew up with a mother that I would always say garbage in, garbage out. So that was always I still hold that in of I don't always believe that a song can change your entire life. I think it has, sure. And I think it can. But I think on the day-to-day, the songs change the atmosphere in your car. They change your mood. They change your heart sometimes. One of the best comments we ever got from a listener said, it was for this specific, it was Air1, and they said, Air1 makes me a better me, makes me a better friend, makes me a better teacher, makes me a better spouse, a better mom. And I can kind of, I see exactly what that is, because when you are focused on Jesus and the music that you're playing, like that changes a lot. So that is why we get up and do what we do every day, for the people not only to hear maybe about Jesus for the first time, but for the people that need to just get through a day without losing their ever-loving minds, to be able to hear a song that's like, hey, he's still in control. Things are okay even if they're not okay. And I think that's why what we do really matters.
How is the music selected for Air1 and K-LOVE? Is that something that Steve does, or it works with you, Mandy? Or how do you pick the music?
They work together. It's the three for K-LOVE. It's the three of us and Troy, who's our program director for both networks. And for Air1, it's me and a few other, younger, hipper people that are younger than us. Shots fired. But really, and it's very different. So for K-LOVE, it is songs that labels provide and singles, and it's changed over time. It's 2026, y'all. Like, we're dealing with digital streaming platforms, and
right.
We're seeing things stream, and we're seeing radio work in different ways than it has in the past. And so for K-LOVE and Air1, we have different methods of putting songs on the radio. And so Air1 is very based on what is streaming and what is being played in the church and what is working in that arena. And K-LOVE is still a little more traditional in nature.
You say, because I would think, I'm probably wrong, but it seems like the church follows what you guys play on radio more than the other way around.
Sometimes.
It depends on the church, because you have some churches that are really kind of like, especially when you come to worship, there are leaders in the worship movement, like Elevation or some of the others, where they are writing these songs and they start going out. And we're probably on the earlier side with them, not as early as they are, but not as far behind. But as it slowly disseminates around the country and more churches get to it, at that point, it probably seems like, oh, we did it first, but we're probably the first 10%. But the rest, it depends on if your church isn't one that's always trying to go grab the brand new worship song every week, then it's one that probably will have played it for a while, and your church will be like, oh, we should be doing this at church. But you do have those churches also that are like, as soon as Elevation puts out a song, we're going to work on it that week, and we're going to sing it that Sunday. So it kind of depends on what kind of church you go to, really.
That's true.
So can you take us down in the process of really what you're doing and how you pick your music? And now, you don't have to pick music for 24 hours, right? Because you do repeat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So things are set up. So we have music meetings that picks the newer songs, right, that we're playing.
When are those meetings?
What's week? Mondays?
Mondays. Every Monday. We also have a library of songs. So these are songs that have been tested by our audience in different ways, right? We have weekly tests. We have larger music tests or auditorium testing is what they call it. We have newer ways of finding out engagement on apps and things like that. So we take all of those numbers, all of that research. Steve brings a lot of that research. And then we're picking new songs. And then we're also always managing our library of older songs, of what songs still are relevant, still matter. And those are placed into categories. Okay. And then we make clocks. If you've never made a clock, it's the least amount of fun. And then
I love making clocks. I'm a weirdo.
People like clocks. And you schedule each hour and you have songs and from that category that the computer will pull, right? Okay. So if you have like what we call gold songs, those are songs that stand the test of time. Everybody loves them. They're powerful, and those will get played. And then you'll play a newer song, and then you'll play another older song, and then so we kind of, and then the clocks rotate every hour. So you have different clocks for each hour. You have clocks for the weekend. You have clocks so it's all computerized.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't in our day when we were, learning how to do them, and I drew them on paper.
Yeah. And cards. And,
yes.
Yeah.
But now it's all computerized, and you can really make sure that you're not hearing the same song on your drive into work every day at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes you could run the risk of. So we are in charge of the very front of it, of getting the music in. That's going to be the newer songs. And then as they go through the system and stay around for a long time, hopefully they're the songs you listen to.
So your on-air people, they know when the songs are going to...
Yes.
Okay, they're going to play.
So those clocks also have when they talk.
That's where I was going.
So they know when they talk every hour. They know we do a thing called a ramp, which means you talk over a song, the ramp of a song, which... Yeah. Back in the day was what people hated when they're trying to tape songs, to make their mixtape for their boyfriend or whatever. And like, why is the DJ talking? But those are moments, I like to call them handshakes, which is just like, hey, we heard the song you just heard. Here's the next song. We're here with you. We're having a great day kind of thing. Or giving you information you need. And then the breaks, which we call it, those are DJ moments for conversation or for telling something fun. We don't play a lot of commercials on K-LOVE and Air1. So anything we give you, this is a Jim quote, anything we give you when there's not music playing is something that's beneficial for you. At least we hope it is. So it's telling you about a concert you want to see or a book you want to get. And then it's back into music or worship.
You also take input from listeners, don't you? Don't you have a K-LOVE?
Yeah.
What's it called? I listen, but I don't know.
K-LOVE.
Not influencer.
No.
Why am I panicking? I can't remember the name.
Air1 influencer and the K-LOVE something.
Music team.
No, it isn't. I almost said that. It's not. Yeah, Insiders. Yeah.
So what do these people do?
They vote on the music that they hear. So they can tell whether or not you like it or whether you've heard it or familiar with it, what you think of it, and you get to rate it. In a new media landscape, a lot of that can also happen on your phone, right? So you can heart a song that you like. Right. That also gives us some insight to go, oh, there's a lot of engagement on this song. A lot of people are hearting it. And that can tell you things too, because nowadays, there's not a lot of people that are going to go in their email and take a music test from a radio station. Right. There are still some, and we're very thankful for them, but we're finding new ways to figure out what songs our audience loves and maybe doesn't love as much.
Okay. When I walked into your building today, that's a fabulous facility you guys have here in suburban Nashville, Franklin. I noticed on the wall a lot of words that you can't really read at a distance. You have to get up and see it. And that is, those are stories from listeners. And my next question, wanted to go down that path. And what stories have you heard or you recall from listeners that have impacted you, that make you say, when you're discouraged, like, this is why I'm in here, this is why I'm working. Do you recall any of these stories that you can share? Jim does.
Yeah, you go.
I mean, we hear them every day. It's wild what God does through this place. Yeah. And the one that jumps out to me is there was a woman who called in to say that she was on a bridge and she was ready to jump. And our pastoral team kept her on the phone long enough to calm her down. And meanwhile, the pastor had worked with someone on our care team to talk to the police in that area, and they were able to figure out where she was. And that pastor hears the sirens of that police coming to, and why did she call us in that moment?
Yeah.
Well, because the DJs loved on her. They'd never met her, but they loved on her. And she was in distress. And so then we get to hear the phone call when she calls back to thank the pastor, because she's now in a church and she's gotten counseling and and so you just go, God, why, how is it that I get to be part of a place where you move like that?
Yeah.
And so those stories you see on the wall downstairs, they're part of a thing that then says moving people closer to Jesus. So that's all we're trying, that's what we're trying to do with every song, with every content break, if we can just move you closer to Jesus, then we know he'll take care of the rest.
Yeah.
And so when we go into, we call them pledge drives, our listeners call them horrible. No, I'm kidding.
Obnoxious and tiring.
But when we go into pledge drive, part of the thing we like to do is we like to tell those stories. It makes pledge drive more listenable.
Yeah.
But it also is just proof of we wouldn't be here unless somebody gave, and we wouldn't be here unless God was using it. And look at all these ways he is. Yeah. I'm sure there are many other stories.
So many.
Something else that I like here, and a lot of Christian radio stations are starting to add a pastoral staff, but we actually have a very large pastoral listener care team, which often give different people tours of the building when they come in, like artists I've talked with. And I always actually say that for last, because to me, that's here's all the cool, fun stuff we do, but here's what it's really all about. And we talk to our listeners, email our listeners, phone call to our listeners. We have the stories like Jim's. We also have people every week that are coming to Christ when they're talking through our pastors. We have a bell that rings through the whole building every time someone does, so we can all just take a moment and celebrate. And I know people think Christian radio only gets listened to by Christians, and I mean that's a very large percentage of our audience. Obviously, our Christians are being encouraged. We have people who are just there looking and searching for faith and want to know what God's all about. They hear us, and sometimes they pick up the phone and call, and our pastoral team walks them through what it means to follow Christ.
So you have a pastoral team. Obviously, the radio. I know we'll talk about streaming in a little bit later. What other ministry components come out of K-LOVE and Air1 that I'm not thinking of?
Podcasts. We have books, videos, social media,
our digital content.
Yeah.
We have a donor team that helps take care of our donors. We have a legal team that keeps Mandy out of jail. A finance team that pays us and makes sure our donors get their receipt. So it's a big engineering tech that keep us on the air. So it's a huge effort.
And as radio has become more digital, and it's videos and social media teams and marketing teams, and we have new initiatives that are coming. So that is a huge chunk of what we do. And it's all because there are people that believe in that mission that you saw on the wall.
Yeah.
And
I love that too. We're not trying to be the church. No. We try to disciple people in the ways we can, verse of the day or a devotional, but we really want you in a local church. And so we have a church finder feature that can help. That's really important to us. We think the Christian life should be done together. We do it together. We do it in our local churches. We want that for our listeners too.
The other thing I noticed, I got a brief tour from Richard Hunt when I came in. And he took me to I want to call it your chapel. I don't know what you call it. What an amazing facility. You guys get together, once a month? Is that for a camp, not campus-wide, but a company-wide?
We actually get together 3 times a day. So when I first started 17 years ago, you would walk into a room much smaller, similar, and there were stacks of paper in in and out trays, right? And you would grab them, and they all had prayer requests on them. Mm-hmm. And they had 3 boxes for check marks, because we prayed for every prayer request from a listener 3 times. So you'd grab a stack and you'd have a moment, and 3 times throughout the day to come in and just pray together as a staff. That still remains, although it's all on an app now. Yeah. And so we pray for Air1 listeners. We pray for K-LOVE listeners. They can also pray for each other, which is cool. Yeah. So that's 3 times a day, plus a prayer and worship every month for the staff, and also, a time to all be together, like a town hall kind of thing. Yeah. But it's also used for community, events. Obviously, we're in Nashville, so there's going to be events that can draw people,
Sure.
artists, things that have been happening and more to come.
Yeah, we like loaning that room out to artists for their tour rehearsals.
Okay.
So they can save a couple $1,000 and rehearse here instead. And we have hosted a few streaming. Phil Wickham released his album here and streamed it. And we've got a tour coming next week with Josh Baldwin. And so we want it to be used. We say, hey, it kind of looks like a cruise ship, but really it's a battleship. And we want to use it up and use it powerfully for the gospel.
Yeah. When I walked in it, my first reaction was, this reminds me of the Cedarville Chapel. Much smaller, but it has the wings. Yeah. It took me to campus, and I was pleased to hear how you use it. Let's move on a little bit as we get to the middle of the program. Nowadays, people touch their phones on average around 2,600 times a day. It's crazy. In that kind of environment, how is K-LOVE and Air1 intentionally trying to use your platform to pull people closer to Christ?
I'll jump in.
Because these things are addictive and distractive.
Yes.
Yeah. One, we have our K-LOVE and Air1 apps where you can do the prayer requests. You can get the verse of the day. You can get articles about faith, everything. And the thing that most people use it for, and the part that I'm most passionate about, because it's kind of my world, that's where we stream the radio stations. And we have, everyone knows K-LOVE and Air1 exists, but also in the app, because we are dedicated and want to be able to reach more people. And we realize K-LOVE and Air1 isn't for everyone. No. It's not everyone's kind of music or kind of thing. So in the app, it's giving us a place where we can have different formats, different genres. So like in the K-LOVE app, you have everything from decades. So you can hear a 70s and 80s and 90s, 2000s, etc. station, a mixed station, a pop station, which is my favorite child currently as far as radio children. I have real children I love very much. But radio children, that's my favorite radio child at the moment. And in the Air1 app, we have a worship mix station. We have a Spanish worship station there where we're trying to reach people who speak Spanish, and more to come. The goal is to reach more people and more languages and more genres and whatever we can do. And digitally, it gives us a chance to do that where, we can't put all of these on towers everywhere. There's a limit to how many radio towers exist in the world. But we can, streaming wise, especially now that more and more people are using the internet, be there and have content that reaches them, whether they're a K-LOVE fan or an Air1 fan, or now a pop fan, and many more to come, or speak Spanish even. So, and
thankfully we've had enough years growing terrestrially on stations that audience have moved with us now to where on Air1 it's 60% listen on phones.
Seriously.
On Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So we want to be where they are, because if they're going to use their phone, they should use it to use it for good.
So you're seeing growth out of the digital platform, the phones. Yeah. Will traditional radio ever go away? I mean, I've heard for decades, not only is print dead, but radio is dead. Will radio go away?
The death is greatly exaggerated.
I agree.
I think radio will always exist in some form. We might not even all have the same opinion on this. I think radio will always exist. It's hard to say whether FM will always be a thing as cars change and we get more smart cars and they change its dashboards and more people are using apps.
Right.
I don't think FM is going away anytime soon. I could see a day it does, but I think it will just be replaced by something else radio-wise. I think radio will always exist in some form. And I still think FM's probably going to last a good another 20, 30 years at least, if not much, much longer. But either way, I think radio will still exist. And the radios that will do the best in the future are the ones who I think can reach people where they're at. I think Christian radio is really in a good place because we make a difference in people's lives where some other radio might not as much. And it's going to be the content, it's going to be the personalities, people that get drawn into it. That people, even if it leaves FM, they'll still follow because they know they can trust and find their friends and find people who are going to minister to their lives, no matter what the platform is. But it might look different. Yeah. It will exist in some way, in my opinion.
I remember when MTV went on the air in 1982, and the first song they play was "Video Killed the Radio Star." Mm-hmm. And a couple months ago, when MTV went off the air, they played "Video Killed the Radio Star," and radio's still here.
Yeah.
So I think that we see radio used less and younger demos. Because as my son Grant would say, Dad, if it doesn't have a skip button, I don't care. So we know that in those younger demos, there's less radio use, but it's less. It's not none. And so there's still a long runway for radio to influence. Yeah. And then as far as what we do, we don't think of it just as radio. We do lots of other content on our digital channels, our web. And so that's also a way that we're trying to bring people closer to Jesus. Yeah. I occasionally get soul crushing critique emails. And one of the ones that sticks out to me is, someone who was lecturing me on why we should not be on Facebook, that Facebook was evil and it was distracting and addictive. And I wrote her back and I just said, you know why we're on Facebook? Because there's people there. And we want to be anywhere there's people pointing at the gospel, pointing at Jesus. So as Mandy just said, we're trying to use whatever media outlet, whether it's FM or streaming or something we'll dream up next week. We just want to use it to bring people closer to Jesus. That's our focus.
And you do cruises. You do a lot of different things, right?
Yeah, cruise and K-LOVE Fan Awards every May here in Nashville. And then Mandy's favorite thing we do is meet every listener.
Mm-hmm. And I enjoy that. I went to meet Carlos and Amy in Cincinnati a couple of years ago. I think you guys should come to Cedarville and have that.
We're open to that. I love it because we're not asking you to buy a ticket for a cruise ship or to buy a ticket to a concert. We're bringing that to you. And there's so many people over the years that we've done that have just said we've always wanted to meet you because you're just our friend.
Right.
And that if we're doing our jobs right, we're friends to people whenever they need us in the morning, in the afternoon, whenever, and then they get a chance to just hang out with them for a minute because they've shared life for all these years without seeing each other.
I think it's a great idea. Yeah, because it does put it brings people together. Yes. And to me, in the PR world, relationships is everything. I think that's the same thing that you guys are saying. Mm. So one thing I learned in preparation today is, you guys are always evolving. You guys are always adding stations. Did you guys add the station or create the station in Milan, Italy, because it's Olympics time? Or how did that come to fruition?
We had a friend in the ministry. Actually, her name's Kelly Minter. She's an author, incredible speaker, podcaster, Bible teacher. And she asked me, hey, would you be able to help or partner up with a radio ministry I'm aware of in Italy? And so I put her contact in touch with we call him Signal Expansion Guru. His name's Joe Miller. And so he worked on that. Okay. And it just did seem to time out to work with the Olympics, which is cool. We're expanding in a couple other countries, and Steve's the lead on that. Yeah, we managed to get Italy on just in time as the Olympics started that day. It was a little bit of a race to try to get them on just in time, but we are on 12 hours a day in Milan, and their local station does the other 12 hours. We're partnering with the Christian station there, and then I'm not sure how soon the podcast airs, but I think by the time this airs, we'll be live actually also in Zambia for several hours a day with a radio partner we have there. And then there's another country not far behind. And then we're also in talks to now that we've developed this sort of, let's call it K-LOVE Global stream, that, well, now we can plug that up in other cities, other countries. And so our intent is if there's a terrestrial media partner already on the ground that we can help, that we could help fill out part of their day, or, we have these engineering wizards that are able to help with equipment, or maybe we even invest financially to help them with their equipment. We're open to doing that.
Okay. Let me shift a little. I don't know the time frame, maybe a year, maybe 2. I just don't know. So you can tell me. So as a faithful listener of K-LOVE and Air1, I have noticed a greater intentionality of sharing the gospel through your on-air people. I don't know if that's true, if I'm just figuring that out, but tell me what's going on. Is that really, because I love it. I think it's great.
Well, I'll speak for him and then let him speak. It's being here a long time. I've had different leaders. So there was a programming philosophy before Jim came which was let the music do the talking, or let the music talk about Jesus. And then you kind of do whatever else. The intentionality really came with Jim Hauser to do that, to be authentically, listen, and I don't, it's not a coincidence that also it was around the time of COVID when Jim came, and that changed lives for a lot of people. And it also made things, and for me, I want to be authentic and real in everything that we do. So if you authentically are talking about Jesus in the way that it, whether it's good or bad, not tying it up with a red bow and being like, well, at least we can pray, right? And it's like, no, well, sometimes life's really hard. And so how do we do that? And then also welcome people in that might not know Jesus. And we came up with these gospel spots to share use the songs and then tell the message. So it is intentional. You are hearing that. And it's because of his vision of coming and going, this is how I want to take, this is where I think we've drifted, and this is where I want to take K-LOVE back to.
So has it been, then 5 or 6 years?
Yeah.
I'm sneaking up on 6 years.
Okay, you're sneaking on six. This really permeates who you are as a person, right, Jim? This isn't just a mission to do at K-LOVE. This is who you are at the core. Is that a fair statement?
I hope so. I just think that God positioned this ministry to have all these signals. Yeah. And if he did, then why would we leave it to just the music? Why wouldn't we be bold for the gospel? And I think I love pop radio. I love pop music, and I always have. And I thought, man, if you play just the right song, you could change somebody's day.
You can.
But what we do, those songs have the gospel in it. And so we could change somebody's life. And so we're trying to be more intentional about it. We don't want to be heavy-handed about it. Mandy and I talk about we're going to scrape the gloss off K-LOVE a little because it felt a little stale to me, and it felt a little like, oh, we have it all figured out. And we do not. We are badly broken and a mess of people behind these mics. I don't have to look. We've got a sinner on the air right now, but we are forgiven, and we want to be bold about the God that has intervened for us.
Yeah. If there's one thing that's come out of these podcasts these last 2 weeks for me, is your heart and your sincerity to serve Jesus and to point people to him. So thank you for being real for this podcast. Let me begin to close the program with 2 questions, maybe 3. K-LOVE and Air1 represents what? The largest Christian radio network in the world. Is that fair? Is that right?
Yes.
But how many people?
18 million a week, 14 million on K-LOVE, 4 million on Air1. And Air1 would be a really big deal in any other building, because if you add up the 3rd biggest, the 4th biggest, and the 5th biggest, if you add them together, they're still not as big as Air1.
Yeah.
So Air1 is a huge platform, but we get to be part of both. Yeah. Pinch us.
Pinch you, but also it's so cool that Cedarville has a place in that. I mean, right?
Well, and Cedarville has a place in the other
ones
networks too. I mean, Way FM, we really respect those guys and what they do. And Steve was a part of it for a long time. So many Cedarville grads.
At one point, I don't think there's this many there now. At one point, I think we were up to 12 Cedarville grads across the whole Way FM network. I think there's only a couple of them there currently, but yeah, we considered Cedarville our farm system for a long time while I was at Way FM, and we kept on just bugging Mr. L, like, hey, who's coming? That's great. So we can hire them next. Right. That's where we're going to get them from.
Yeah.
And they've
all spread across the country. Yeah.
And I mean, like, Cedarville has really influenced. We've got people in film. Yeah. Right. Scott Mills has done a lot with film. Paula Ferris was on Good Morning America. I mean, that media and communications program has really been a strong influence in media.
Yeah. So for K-LOVE and Air1, status quo is not a strategy. What's your vision for the future?
We call it relentless excellence. We're pursuing relentless excellence, and that means every break, how can we bring you closer to Jesus? Every break, how can we make you laugh so that we're your friend and the one you turn to when it is a bad day. So we're just trying to innovate new contests. You know, we didn't do Meet Every Listener 4 years ago. We came up with it. You know, so we're always trying to innovate to serve the audience better and to point people to Jesus.
Right. And I'll also add that we're also trying to, it's also a mission to try to reach more people in more ways. We do really well with what K-LOVE and Air1, and how else can we do it? That's what we get back to the international you're talking about. How can we help make a difference to people that we currently aren't? And that's a big mission too.
Back to something you said earlier when you said, you know, is the death of radio been greatly exaggerated, or are we on our last leg? And so we've started to kind of say, like, we're not in these spots to land the plane, to be like, nice ride, everybody, let's take her down, and then take her off the plane, but to extend the flight. And to do that means you have to continue to maintain the listeners you have and find new ways to get new ones.
Yeah.
And that all starts with connecting through music and imaging and, jock taught everything. And then finding new ways to innovate. And what Steve's doing and Jim and myself, we're trying to do.
And then new initiatives. We have new initiatives that Steve is helping with called Good Source.
Yeah, that brand. This airs after that it's launched. So by then we have a new whole Gen Z brand launching called Good Source, specifically targeted at reaching Gen Zs and all the creators involved with it. They're all Gen Zs themselves, and very excited about it.
For Gen Z, by Gen Z.
How are you going to reach them? What's the platform?
The platforms that kind of let you see how we have all this different stuff with K-LOVE and Air1. We're doing a lot of the same stuff there. We'll have a radio portion of the brand. We're launching with 1FM, but online is going to be a real big focus there. Especially knowing that Gen Zs tend to consume more online anyway. But they're having their own podcasts, obviously social media. They're actually running a curriculum. I don't even completely know what the curriculum looks like they're working on yet, but they're working on a curriculum for like devotional kind of material.
Okay.
And they're just finding ways to reach other. And we really felt like, well, the best way to probably reach a lot of Gen Zs is from Gen Zs who love Jesus, and went out and did a whole audition process and found some very talented Gen Zs who are hungry to serve and hungry to spread the gospel to their generation. Yeah.
Will the music be different?
It's different. It's what will exist initially is a more pop bend, but we're going to be adding just like we have on K-LOVE and Air1, we're going to be adding some more different genres underneath that too. They're very Gen Z centric on the music that we know they're looking for and they're consuming.
Well, I want to thank you for spending quite a bit of time with me today. I love hearing your words, your heart. I haven't done this ever before, so I'm going to try something new with you guys.
Uh-oh.
No. This will be good for you, hopefully. Is there anything I didn't ask you? Let me give you an open mic. Anything you want to say to the Cedarville audience, to those looking at Cedarville, maybe as a prospective student, that you want to share from your perspective as an alum of Cedarville University who are doing Kingdom work here at K-LOVE Air1? I'll
jump in first. Follow where God's leading you as a student. If you go in as one major, don't feel scared that you're changing to another. I was going to be a high school math teacher when I went to Cedarville. I quickly felt God calling me towards radio because of the student station that let anyone in the major volunteer. And honestly, my parents weren't thrilled with it at the time. They're like, why are you changing? You're going to be a teacher. You're great at math. Why would you do this? I'm like, well, I really feel like this is where God's leading me. Yeah. So listen for God's voice to follow what he wants you to do. And no matter what field it's in, don't feel like you're pigeonholed into this is what I thought I was going to do when I came to school. Be open to listening to his guidance and know that Cedarville's got not just in radio, but no matter what other field, there's great people in many fields that God's leading to it. There's probably connections to it at Cedarville that will help you get there as you graduate. Yeah.
Give to K-LOVE. No. I would say two things. I would say, which professor changed your life? And write them a letter today.
That's nice.
Do it today.
It is crazy that we still talk to a college professor years after we've all graduated. And Mr. L has been like, that's a really cool thing to have as a gift that doesn't happen from anywhere else that I've really known, rarely. So
right. And Mr. Vincent has big shoes to fill there now. He was my intern once upon a time, so I'm excited for him. So, but yeah, and he's trying. He wants to be able to honor that legacy, and I still get to talk to him all the time too.
Yeah, I don't see the bar getting any lower. You're in Cedarville, and so that's exciting. And guys, really.
Wait, you didn't get to go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm good.
No.
I yield my time.
Thank you. No. Go ahead. Sorry.
I really don't. Like I
You're speechless.
I am. So I think he said it well. I didn't come in. What I came in for Cedarville for, I literally went to Cedarville because all my teachers went there as a kid, and I didn't even live in the state, and came there to be a music teacher, and was like, whoops, don't like that, and found this love that changed my life, and I think I will always be grateful and thankful for that opportunity, and all these years later.
Yeah,
I said. Write your prof.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is get off the bench. Like if you went to Cedarville and got the training and everybody had a minor in Bible, your church probably could use you. Whether it's serving the teens or serving the kids or in the parking lot. Like I would say, just get off the bench. We got to go to a special place. And I'd urge people, including myself, to use that. I'm starting back on the sound team Sunday. So I just think that's an important thing for how can we serve in our local communities and support our pastors. And
pastors need the support because they get hit many times, and it can be a very lonely place to be a pastor, right? Guys, our time is up, but again, I want to thank you for opening up your studio at K-LOVE. It's wonderful. It's great to meet you guys for the first time. I think you were on a podcast.
Before.
Yeah, we met before. This is Mandy's second time on the podcast.
Hey, visit. That's something.
But
superstar.
Thanks for having us along.
But I'd love to have the Car 6 on a podcast whenever we can arrange it.
They would love that. We're on that.
We'll do that. So thanks again, guys. It was great.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you for listening to the Cedarville Stories podcast, brought to you by Cedarville University. To learn more about Cedarville University, visit our website at cedarville.edu. And be sure to come back next week when we'll share another Cedarville story for God's glory.